Welcome to this week's edition of the Belmont Journal, Belmont's own local program for hyperlocal news and community affairs programming. I'm your host, Roger Colton. Congratulations to both the Belmont High boys and the girls rugby teams who won their semifinal games in the state tournament just this week. Both teams will go on to play for the state championship next Saturday. The Belmont High girls varsity rugby team is going for its third straight state championship. Last Saturday, the Friends of PQ Park, the PQ neighborhood, in the Meet Belmont Committee celebrated the grand opening of the new playground at PQ Park. Belmont Journal volunteer David Webster was there and brings us the story.
Today we're having the ribbon cutting. Just a year ago, they broke ground and fenced off the park and demolished the old park, and now a year later it's ready to go, and we have all the new play structures in place, all the new trees, and so today we're having a special ribbon cutting event.
3, 2, 1.
The park that was originally done in the early to mid 90s had been reaching its useful life and worn down, and a friend of mine came out and we took some pictures of various parts of the playground that were worn and that needed improvement. And what that resulted in was a decision by the Friends of PQ and the town and the Community Preservation Committee to start from scratch and redo the park. For people who know PQ Park, they will remember that there was a little tiny trike loop, and in the middle of it was a hill that the kids dug and played in the dirt. And people really like that loop, so now we have 3 loops. We have a little loop for tricycles, we have a little bit bigger loop for bikes and scooters, and we have a large loop that goes around the basketball court that's for, people walking, exercising, and it's now handicapped accessible. We have 2 hills now instead of 1. One's for toddlers and has a slide that goes down it. One's a little bit bigger, can be used for sledding. The project has been going on since November of 2015. We had a combination of fundraising from the community and Community Preservation Act money to bring the project to fruition.
So we decided to collaborate with Friends of PQ Park to throw our first park party, and we're really excited to do that today. The entire playground's new. I have a 1.5-year-old that is just starting to get excited about going to the playground, and he absolutely loves it.
This is the favorite part. And what we like most about it is the shade trees over the swings in the area where the little ones are.
I really like the brand new playground equipment that got put in. That's really great that there's a place for both older kids and younger kids in the same park. We meet a lot of the kids from elementary school here just on chance to come to this park, and I think it's a great chance for meeting all kinds of other people that live in the neighborhood and bringing everybody together.
It's a really great park, I think, for kids, for dogs, for people that like to play sports. There's so much here. It's such a delight to see this new park come together and to bring everybody here today.
Hello, welcome to This Week in the Belmont Citizen Herald. I have with me today Joanna Juvelis, who is the senior multimedia journalist for the Citizen Herald and for Wicked Local Belmont, Belmont's online and print source of local news. Thanks for stopping over.
No problem.
I have heard that there is a new business in Belmont Center, one directed toward high school students.
Yes, very exciting. A new business opening anywhere in Belmont is always exciting news, but this is extra exciting because it is specifically for high school age students. It's called Code Makers, and it's opening up behind A Chocolate Dream on Leonard Street, 68 Leonard Street, and it's owned by a Belmont mother and resident. Her name is Rochelle Reinhardt.
And Code Makers sounds like it is directed toward computers.
Yes, it's where students can go and take classes to learn coding.
And she was really pulled into this business by her kid.
Yes,
right?
she has a 12-year-old
12.
son, Alex, who was really into Minecraft. So about 3 years ago, she got the idea to start this business, and she was doing it just in the summers in temporary locations. Now she found this permanent location, and she'll offer it year-round. And students can also go there to play ping pong and foosball and non-digital games. So it's not just for coding. You can become a member, and you can go there and socialize and hang out.
Has she been active in trying to find things to do for teenagers in Belmont, or is
Yes,
this?
she's in the process of talking to the Youth Commission, which is actually our next topic. She's talking to them to see if they're interested in offering activities there. She's going to be talking to the Recreation Department. I think it's going to be really exciting.
Well, we wish her the best.
Yes.
Code Makers in Belmont Center.
Yes.
Let's-
They have an open house June 22nd from 10 to 3.
Let's close the door on that and talk about the Youth Commission.
Sure,
Because
yes.
we here in the town of Belmont are about to have a new Youth Commission staff person.
Yes, she works for the health department. She serves the Youth Commission, and she's a youth coordinator. And this is a position that actually there was a woman doing it. She started in December, but she's had to move on. So she's been working part-time, filling in until they found a new youth coordinator. They had 69 applicants, and this past
Wow.
Monday, June 10th, they offered it to Belmont resident Tiana Watson. She's a Salem State student. She's pursuing her master's degree. This is a 19-hour-a-week position, and she'll work with the Youth Commission to plan programs for the Belmont youth. And as you know, they recently had a big scavenger hunt in Belmont Center that was very successful, and hopefully they'll have more events like that, and she can help.
In the Youth Commission, my understanding is that it's directed toward younger kids than
Right.
high school kids.
Yes,
It's the
really
middle
more
school
up
kids.
to middle school age, yes.
Okay.
They want to offer things to high school age students, but they don't know if they'll be interested.
They can attract them, sure.
Yeah.
So Tiana Watson is starting
She starts
next week.
June 19th, yes.
Good luck to her.
Yeah, very good luck.
And then on a day directed toward students and kids,
I know.
Belmont High School
You're right.
is known for its music program, and
That's
it
for
is
sure.
getting a new band director.
Yes, Paul Ketchen, who's been the band director for 5 years, is relocating to be closer to his wife's family in Omaha, Nebraska, and he will be greatly missed because from that 5-year period, he did a lot, and he loved his job. He said he's sad to move on, but he has a family now and wants to be closer to his wife's family. So what they've done is they've already hired a new band director. She's coming from Chelmsford Middle School. Her name is Allison Lacasse. She's a flautist, and she also is the assistant director of the Chelmsford High School Band.
Now, the band director is in charge of not only the concert band, but the marching band as well.
Yes.
And there is more than one band at Belmont High School, is that correct?
Yes, right. And they have a lot of ensembles, and they've won many awards.
So we have a new band director coming. We have a new business directed toward Belmont High School kids, and we have a new youth coordinator in the town of Belmont. It is a good time to be a kid in the town of Belmont. We've been speaking with Joanna Juvelis, the senior multimedia journalist for the Belmont Citizen Herald. The Belmont Board of Selectmen recently named the courts at Town Field after 1965 Belmont High graduate Edward Teddy Lee. I had an opportunity to learn more about Lee's heroism in Vietnam and what Lee means to the community of Belmont.
I asked the Board of Selectmen if they would name these courts after Edward Teddy Lee, who was killed in Vietnam in 1968. Teddy was basically fearless and very brave. He was a legitimate war hero and a soldier, and a true soldier in every respect of the word. Town Field was a very big part in Teddy's life, especially in his youth. They actually lived right on Waverly Street, adjacent to the park. And when Mr. Lee passed away, they moved down to Bradley Road. And Teddy and his sisters, they played tennis on these courts. And I always thought that maybe there should be something down here should be named after him. So when I was researching the reasons why Teddy had enlisted in the military, and I learned that he could have attended Northeastern College right out of high school, but instead he chose to enlist in the U.S. Army, and he served his first tour with the 101st Airborne, and then he re-enlisted after his first tour, and ended up joining the LRPs, the Long Range Reconnaissance Patrol Team, which was a highly selective group of individuals. In order to just join the LRPs, you had to have 6 months combat experience. I learned that Teddy could have come home after the first tour. He was wounded, he received a Purple Heart. He also received, I believe, a Bronze Star at that time. Instead, he did re-enlist to serve another tour in Vietnam. Sergeant Lee, as he was known to his outfit in May of 1968, was the point on a patrol, and they were deep in the jungles of Binh Dinh, Vietnam, and they came under enemy fire. And Lee had organized his patrol, and they returned fire, and in doing so, Lee was killed by a sniper's bullet. So when we think about these young men and women who go off to war, we tend to think about them in, from what we see in TVs and in Hollywood movies of these great fighting men. Well, Teddy was certainly a warrior in the true sense of the word. One thing that shines through is, these young men, they played at the same parks that Belmont kids play at today. They went to the same schools. They went to the center. They did all the same things that we do today, only in a different time. And for reasons that were fitting in their time or reasons unknown, they chose to serve the country. We're grateful that they did, and unfortunately their lives were taken from them way before they should have. They should have all lived long lives, and by remembering them, we keep their spirit alive. We keep history of the town alive.
The Belmont resident known as Farmer Tim celebrated this year's grand opening of his farm stand on Concord Ave. The Belmont Journal talked to Farmer Tim about what he's doing and why.
I'm Farmer Tim. This is Farmer Tim's Vegetables, and we are here on opening day for the 5th year that we've been here on Concord Avenue on Sunday afternoons. And we're here every Sunday afternoon from June through most of October until it gets too cold and dark to grow vegetables. A little over 5 years ago, decided I wanted to be a farmer, and so I bought some land in Central Mass and go out there and work hard on growing vegetables and bring them back home to Belmont and sell them to my friends and neighbors. We make sure that this food is as healthy and as fresh as we can make it, because not only do we want to sell good healthy food, we eat this food, so we want it to be nice and clean. What we have here is basically what's in season today. So we grow over 50 different kinds of vegetables on the farm, in over 100 different varieties of those 50 vegetables. And so this week, the first week here in early June, we've got mostly greens. We've got lettuce and kale and Swiss chard and bok choy and spinach. Every week as we go through the season, new things will come along. As we get into the warmer weather, you get warmer weather crops like beans and tomatoes and cucumbers and carrots and all the rest of it. And then we get to the fall and we get the wonderful fall vegetables. So it's really, you get a flavor for the whole season. Now we try to have greens throughout the season. We try to have as much things in as long a time as we can. But the reality is that Mother Nature is very much in charge in what you do for farming. And so we kind of live at Mother Nature's, mercy. And this year we actually had a really wet, cold spring, and so we started up a week later this year because, frankly, it was a really cold, wet spring, and it took an extra week for everything to grow. We have been spoiled, or maybe ruined, depending on your perspective, by the supermarket mentality. They have everything all the time. You want blueberries in January, you go to the supermarket, they've got blueberries. Now, they aren't very good blueberries, but they've got them. So you can go with a list, no matter what time of year, and go there and get something. With a farmer's market or a stand like this, we're growing, as I said, what's available now. What does Mother Nature do for us right now? Good. And so people need to come with an open mind and say, what's fresh, what's wonderful, what can I do with this wonderful food that's here, as opposed to saying, I want to do X, Y, Z, and then go fill out their list. Oftentimes, be open to inspiration, be open to excitement, and be open to what's fresh today, because that's going to be so much better than what you can get off season from someplace that's been shipped in from far, far away.
Richard Hill, a member of the Belmont Gallery of Art, is exhibiting his most recent work at the Belmont Gallery of Art. He is joined in his exhibition by his sister, Susan Hill Sims, who makes fused glass. For her, it's a premiere. The exhibition will be on display at the Belmont Gallery of Art through September 1st.
I'm Richard Hill, and I'm the person responsible for the paintings on the wall back there.
And I'm Sue Hill Sims, and I'm responsible for all the glass.
And we are brother and sister.
Remarkably.
Our mother was an artist, a painter, and a creative dynamo. She could make anything out of anything, and we grew up in homes where every room was like an industrial exposition. There was a project underway or nearing completion in every room of the house. I inherited her painting gene, which is what you see all around you, and Sue inherited just about everything else, including the creative dynamo thing, because she too can make anything out of anything. But very recently she started making these fused glass pieces, and I fell in love with them. And
I fell in love with making them.
Yes. Many years ago, I had a very good friend who, when I first started painting, went behind my back and arranged for me to have my own show without telling me about it. I wanted Sue to have the same experience. I encouraged her to come to town and share the show with me, and I'm very pleased with the result. What?
Nothing. But the show was actually originally started because my niece is getting married, and she kindly asked if I would make glass centerpieces for the tables at the wedding, which I panicked and was incredibly, thrilled and flattered and terrified.
And now we have about three times as many pieces as we need.
So then once you lit the fire under me, I didn't stop. So I just kept going, and now I'm missing it, not doing it. I haven't done it in several weeks, and it's.
But these are the first.
There's a void now in my life. Thanks a lot.
Because these are the first founding steps of a long creative journey.
I just always fell in love with glass. There's the colors and the light and the way it. I've always liked glass.
All of my paintings have a common thread, which is that every one of them attempts to tell a story. Most of the stories are stories that people are familiar with. One of the things that's intriguing to me is that both of us independently immediately returned to the arts. Because it's the thing that shaped us when we were young, and that it's a kind of a homecoming.
Here's Jane Peters to tell us about all there is to do in Belmont in the coming week on the community calendar.
Hi everyone, I'm Jane, and this is your community calendar for next week. All are welcome to celebrate Father's Day on Tuesday at 6 with strawberry shortcake and the sounds of the New Sound Assembly Chorus Barbershop Quartet. This event is sponsored by Comfort Keepers Woburn Winchester and takes place at the Beach Street Center. The 2019 Payson Park Music Festival season kicks off on Wednesday at 6:45 with the band Ultra Vibe. Families can pack a picnic and bring a blanket to enjoy live music every Wednesday this summer through August 28th. The farmers market season is underway, and next week is no exception. Enjoy music from Fiddlin' Quinn and his Big Folks Band, story time with the library, and activities for kids with the Russian School of Mathematics at the events tent. At the community table, chat with reps from Habitat and Friends of the Belmont Library. The market is open from 2 to 6:30 on Thursday in the Belmont Center parking lot. You can see a complete list of vendors for the market at belmontfarmersmarket.org. Swim, splash, and dance away at the 10th Annual Summer Blast-Off to celebrate the opening of the Underwood Pool in the summer season. With music from DJ Paul Madden, hot dogs, and more from 1 to 4, the blast-off is fun for the whole family. Membership to the pool or a day pass is required for admission. At 8:30, grab a blanket and head to the hill behind the pool for an outdoor movie and popcorn on a 16-foot inflatable movie screen. Saturday's movie is Moana. Celebrate Pride with Belmont Books on Saturday at 4 with cake and local authors. Wear your best Pride gear and join the fun. And that's all for next week. If you'd like your event featured in Belmont Journal's community calendar, you can send your event info to Jane at belmontmedia.org.
The Belmont Garden Club organized a tour of some of Belmont's most incredible gardens last Sunday. Joanna Juvelis gives us a glimpse into what those gardens looked like.
What you are about to see is 10 of the beautiful gardens that we have throughout Belmont, and we're very excited about it. So you can see the beauty of all the different flowers that the homeowners have spent meticulous time with in their backyards, and shows the love of gardening. We went around last June because we needed to see what the gardens looked like, what they would look like for this following June. And we went around and we really tried to pick a good variety throughout Belmont of the gardens. Big, small, simple, fancy, English gardens, etc. So they're all really different, but they're all beautiful.
My house is one of the houses on the Belmont Garden Tour this year, and I was very pleased to be selected. I've been working hard on my garden, and I love talking about gardening and getting other people's opinions and showing off what I've been working on and seeing what other people are working on. And I wanted everybody to enjoy it, so we had to have an area for the adults to entertain in, a lawn for the kids and the dog, and a play area. Also to keep them out of my flower garden. So if I give them their area, I could have my area to mess around with. Perennials, I don't know, it's kind of like painting. You know, you mess around with colors and it's just like painting with green in another way. So that's kind of how I think of that. So.
Well, that's it for this week's edition of the Belmont Journal. As we sign off, let's take a look at what else is available on the Belmont Media Center's community television programming stations. Thanks for watching. I'm your host, Roger Colton, and I will see you again next time.